G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Aussie StarCraft as we bring you a continuation in this series between our red Terran player in the top left hand corner, CM StormPolt, and our blue Protoss player in the bottom right hand corner, LiquidHero. So it is a Terran versus Protoss series, and now for those of you that watched the previous game, I know you're wondering why are we casting it again. It is on heavy rain. Now for those of you who haven't seen the last game, you're welcome to go back and check it out. It did in fact end in a draw, so in a tournament scenario when there is a draw between the players, they do replay the map. Neither player scores a point, so game 2 of the series and we're still 0-all. So not a scenario that we're used to seeing every day, but certainly it's going to be interesting for these two players as they try to adapt to the strategies their opponents used in the previous game. So we'll see whether they decide to go for the same sort of thing. I imagine not, as we actually have Hero establishing his first pylon outside of his base. So this looks like it's going to be some sort of proxy gateway strategy out of Hero, and I like this this option to mix things up. For those of you that were watching the IEM World Championships over the last couple of days, you would have seen just some of the diversity that SOS used throughout that tournament. One of the greatest strengths of his play was the way that he changed his strategy between series and between games in the same series. So looks like we are going to have at least a single proxy gate out of Hero. Doesn't look like we'll be having a second gateway thrown down here, so it's just going to be very early pressure out of Hero. We do have a first gas being taken as main. Now Polt is opening the way he's opened I think virtually every game for the past 12 months, which is going to be a quick barracks and a Reaper. So we'll see just how quickly Polt is able to get this scout up. Now this gateway just a few seconds away from completion, so first zealot is going to be on its way very quickly. The real question is, will Hero build his cybernetics core in his base and start producing stalkers out of this? We do have the first zealot on the way now. We actually have Hero looking like he almost wants to expand behind this, which is very strange. Normally this sort of build puts a lot of pressure very early on. Now Polt's going to have a Reaper out in any moment, so it'll really be a battle for Hero to try and defend this before his mothership core comes out. So we'll see just how quickly Hero gets his mothership core. I think it's hugely important that Hero actually drop that mothership core as quickly as possible. We have two zealots already on the way. That may well pull the Reaper back, but if the Reaper moves all the way to the opposing side of the map, it's going to be very difficult for Hero to defend. Likewise, it's going to be very difficult for Polt to keep his mineral line free of zealots. So we'll see how... Oh, this is very bad news for Polt. Throwing down the reactor behind that first Reaper is going to mean that Hero can move straight in here. Now the Reaper has found the expansion array, Stalker being chrono boosted out behind this. Mothership core not actually on the way, so if the Reaper made his way across the field, he would be able to do some damage, but at the moment Polt's left with no choice but to try and wall this off quite quickly. One zealot already inside, probably wanted to try and wall the remain up before the second zealot could get in. You always want to try and minimize the number of units that can make their way into the base, but these zealots just doing so much damage here. We already have 450 resources lost for Polt, and quite a number of workers, up to 8 workers killed now, and a stalker's brought into the mix. So this reactor from Polt certainly causing a lot of problems. Now normally Polt can protect his base by virtue of the fact the Reaper's well out across the map, but this sort of proxy gateway strategy does really give him a build order advantage over Polt, who likes to follow that Reaper with a quick reactor. So Polt looking like he wants to move out across the map and put some pressure on with the Reaper. We do have a few Marines in this bunker, 4 already there, so looks like Polt will be able to stabilise for now, but he's taking quite a lot of economic damage. If we check the income tab, is 20 harvesters to 12, so it's going to be a nice advantage for Hero, who's actually thrown down his Nexus behind this. The only problem for Hero now is he's left with just the mothership core to defend. Luckily it is out here as the Reaper makes its way over, so the Reaper not going to be able to get any kills, but is certainly going to be able to do a lot of harass here. Another gateway coming down from Hero, and warp gate almost finished, so certainly going to have to give the advantage to Hero at this point in the game. Polt unfortunately taking a lot of damage from that proxy gateway, and the unit's still in play in his expansion, so Polt unable to really follow this up and try and expand as he wished to. Not that he needs to expand now that he's has so few workers left on the field, but certainly ending up a base behind a Protoss player is never an enviable position to be in. So Hero taking a decisive lead in this game. We can see a few more gateways coming down now, so Hero just may look to flood a few gateways and follow this up with some very aggressive play. Actually going to be throwing down a robo as well. So we could see some sort of Sentry Immortal timing off this. We could also just be for an observer, but that's fairly unlikely. Tend to follow up with a few Immortals to try and bust these early bunkers, or eventual tech to Colossus. And either of those things is going to cause a lot of problems for Polt, as Polt's own factory is being quite delayed. We have the Starport coming up now for some medevac play, but as you can see, we actually have no Stimpack on the way. Second Barracks hasn't made it down yet, and as a result, there's no tech lab and no ability to research Stimpack. So Polt just going to damage control mode. Actually, has thrown down his second orbital command and using that to flood as many SCVs as he can to try and recover his economy. But we have quite a dangerous attack building here from LiquidHero. He can well sit at maximum range and start to poke away at things like these supply depots. So quite annoying positioning for Polt to have to deal with. These Marines can try and move down the ramp, but without stim there's not a lot that can be done. So this bunker going to hold the top of the ramp. This Widow Mine will be very useful for defense. We have a second one out now, and currently there's no observer in play, but Hero will be chrono boosting that out. And as soon as that observer's out, these Widow Mines will not be able to do a whole lot given they're outranged by the Stalker. So it's always a little bit of dance, though if you are careless, the Widow Mines will just totally clean up your Protoss forces. The new patch that has altered their splash damage to include shield damage has really significantly buffed the Widow Mines' usefulness particularly against Protoss. So we'll see if any of that comes into play. Look at LiquidHero continuing to look like he wants to try and push up this ramp. He does have 3 gateways and the Robo factory, but the Robotics factory not actually doing a whole lot at this point. It looks like we've had a Widow Mine make its way down into the expansion, and that's nice for Polt here, trying to do a little bit of harass to Hero. But Hero's throwing down his Twilight Council, and it seems like he's getting ready for potential Blinkstalker play, but Polt looks like he's actually going for the sandwich here, moving some Marines down the ramp along with that Widow Mine, which didn't get a kill unfortunately. A Sentry is going to get picked off, so that'll be nice for Polt. Actually has 2 medevacs in play, and finally getting Stim Stards, always a good choice. A few Marauders now making their way out onto the field. It looks like this game will stabilise just a bit as Polt decides to clean up this stray gateway that's in the middle of the map. Unfortunately for Polt, it does come a little bit late, as we see that Hero's been on his second base for quite some time. So Polt's really coming into a point in his decision making where he needs to just decide, can I play this out in a longer macro game? If we look at the income tab, 46 harvesters to 33. Terran do have mules, but they're not going to quite make up for that differential. We have 2 engineering bays coming down, so it looks like Polt deciding to try and play this out long term. Seldom do we see Polt do something like an SCV pull and just go for an all-in, but seldom is not never, and it's possible that he could decide to do that. But I think we're going to see Polt just try to macro his way back into this game. He does like to do the multi-prong aggression, can frequently break his opponents down with that. We'll see if he's able to pull that off here. I think he's in a very difficult position, but difficult is not impossible. And I think we could well see some of that aggression, but this observer from Hero just spotting everything as these units prepare to move out. Have the 4 barracks now on the way, or 5 actually on the field. So going to be quite a few units coming up from Polt, and this Terran force is going to grow quite rapidly. So Polt actually doing a good job of keeping rather level in supply. If we check out the units tab, we can see it's 15 Marines, 3 Marauders and a couple of medevacs to only 7 Stalkers, a Warp Prism and 2 Sentries. So there is quite a unit differential, and it is growing rather rapidly. If you look at the production tab, those upgrades are on the way. We have the Stimpack and Combat Shields along with the +1/+1 already on the way for Terran, as opposed to Protoss, who only have the +1 armor on the way. So there's going to be an upgrade advantage for Polt momentarily. And Hero, though, throwing down these extra gateways and has the extended thermal lance on the field. So first Colossus almost out, and unfortunately for Polt is a little bit behind economically, so hasn't even started Viking production yet. They've got to be super careful. Third base won't be going down for Hero. Those Marines and Marauders are going to clean it up very nicely. And we have the rogue floating factory over here, just ensuring that that Polt has just a little bit more vision than he might ordinarily have. We even have Warp Prism from Hero moving out across the top right hand side. Now this could be some nice harass, dropping a few Zealots, warping a few more, and all of a sudden there's a lot for Polt to have to deal with. But looks like, oh, if these forces move out before the drop, it could be very bad. In fact, I think Hero might in fact be waiting for those forces to move out before he does bring this drop in. A lot of players, particularly at lower leagues, get so caught up in the concept of harass that they don't think about the timing for it. They drop the harass just even though the opponent's army is already almost in position. Whereas if Hero waits for Polt to move out, once these forces leave the front of the base, the only units he has to contend with is the reinforcements that are streaming out, and a quick warp in will quickly put him at an advantage. So we'll see how Polt's able to take those. Oh, nice blink forward onto these units, gonna be harassing those, but Polt a nice big drop into the main, and could potentially snipe this Robo and prevent other Colossus from coming out. These two Colossus though with range are going to force this back. The Robo facility almost goes down and does go down with the Colossus in it, so big pickup for Polt there. Almost getting the Cyber Core as well is a nice choice. Robo facility gonna have to be thrown down again. Storm not quite on the way yet, but you can see Hero gearing up for that inevitable switch from Colossus into High Templar tech. You can't stick on Colossus for too long, as your opponent will be doing exactly what Polt's doing now, just throwing down those Vikings, and they give you the range and ability to engage those Colossus just a little bit more effectively. It's like Polt's units almost stimming themselves to death as they try and chase down these Stalkers. Stalkers deciding it's their turn to play now, and they'll be able to clean up all of those bio units. So one last hit, we'll send that Marine to the next life, and looks like the game's stabilised from what was a very erratic start. Both our players sitting at about 130 supply now, and Polt regrouping for what looks to be his main money push. Hero in it to win it. He's throwing down his third base and continuing to just macro up. But I think Polt's going to engage for a 2-2 time. And a 2-2 still about a minute and a half away. Going to be getting this Viking count up in the meantime. Actually got another Starport going down, so we've got 3 Vikings at a time. So by the time this battle occurs, which I think will be in about a minute or two, Polt should have sufficient Vikings to deal with these Colossus. 2 Colossus in the field. You want to have about 8 or 9 Vikings so you can try and kill those Colossus in as few volleys as possible. Unfortunately, Polt just taking a lot of damage to the edges of this map, meaning that Hero is able to chase this force down. It has to continually back away from the Colossus. And Hero may well just go for things here. No, going to fall back, so a bit of an interesting choice. Hero probably not quite aware of just how far ahead he is. He does have a substantial army supply lead at the moment, and his ability to continue producing it is fairly well assured by the damage he did early in the game. Upgrades being chrono boosted out as well. I love this out of Hero. So level 2 almost finished up. Ground weapons level 2 as well, just started. So it's going to give Hero a he's going to be almost even in upgrades. His attack upgrades are well and truly behind Polt. We see Polt hasn't thrown down his 3-3, is going to try and go for an engagement here. He's got more reinforcements making their way across the field, but will be wanting to wait for these Vikings. The Vikings going to be all important in this engagement. These Colossus, every volley does so much damage. You can see bio clumps up quite easily, and it's not uncommon for Colossus to be getting splash damage across 2 or 3 of these units, but unfortunately Templar do have storms, so it's just going to be massive burst damage here, and the Vikings going to chase down the Colossus. One volley, it does go down, so one Colossus already down. Second one, we have Polt just dropping straight on top of the mineral line. More Marines and Marauders forcing their way through, but the storms and feedbacks going down. The medevac's going to wipe out that drop, and Hero pushes this force forward. There's still a little bit of an army left from Polt here, but the supply is starting to tell a story. Massive storms on the top of Polt army is, I think, going to take Polt out of this game. Polt now down to 80 supply, and he does GG out of the game. So what a rematch for these two Titans on Heavy Rain. Unfortunately for Polt, Hero did manage to get the advantage there. Nice choice of a proxy gate. It does actually play out very well versus Polt's particular opening, so I have a feeling that Hero had done a little bit of research and preparation for that one, knows that Polt's very consistent on his opening, which while it does give him excellent consistent mid and late gameplay, you've got to be too careful. If you've got to be a little bit careful, as if you're too consistent with the same build, does leave you a little bit vulnerable to your opponent getting build order advantages like Hero did in that game. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Going to throw this one up on the channel this morning, as well as the rest of this series over the course of the next couple of days. So the entire series is being cast today. So I'm sorry there has been a couple of days without new content on the channel, but I was very sick at the end of last week. I actually missed my day off where I produced most of my content for the week. So sorry about that, guys, but there will be a stack more content going up on the channel. We're going to cast this one, and then we've got a lot of options for what comes after IEM Cologne. We have the IEM World Championships, which were amazing. I did stay up quite late to watch most of those games. They were phenomenal. I've got a lot of them that I'd love to cast. I have the feeling the replay pack should come out in the next day or so. So we may cast some of those, and I've also got some great Cats games that I'd love to cast as well. So plenty of awesome StarCraft 2 content coming up on the channel, as well as some few other fun games that we'll be throwing up bits and pieces of over the next couple of weeks. When the Diablo 3 expansion comes out, we'll probably give that a bit of a play as well, and just mix things up and keep it fun and interesting. And I've got some other cool announcements, but we'll save them for the rest of this series. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. By all means, if you did, give it the old thumbs up and share it with your friends. And this is Aussie StarCraft. We'll catch you in the next cast.